Part 80. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 791. The moon was bright and the stars were sparse in the sky, and the night was getting darker. Within the range of the forest hut, there were already dozens of monsters of various colors moving around, seemingly searching for something. The last time to offer sacrifice to the ancient god was approaching, but the last sacrifice disappeared right under everyone's noses. The staff of the underground base was as anxious as ants on a hot pot, and sent out dozens of monsters that the base could control to search. Only so many could be sent out for the time being. If more were sent, they would not be able to catch them in the future. Besides, it was useless to release some monsters, such as zombies, which were slow and had poor perception. If other monsters could not find them, they would have no chance. So the monsters released by the mysterious organization this time were mainly those with fast speed and high perception. The biggest feature of this kind of monster is that it is not easy to catch. After the sacrifice ceremony, without the influence of the ancient god, they would definitely run away. Fortunately, the area near the forest hut was strictly controlled by the organization. How strict was it? Not only the land, but also the water is surrounded, the ground is also isolated and closed. Even the sky is blocked by invisible barriers. Not to mention birds, even flies can't fly out. Although these monsters are not comparable to ordinary animals and are very powerful. But these barriers are specially made for monsters, and it is definitely not easy to rush out. Only the alien queen and 8 alien warriors who have been released outside before, if they refuse to come back, the organization has no choice. They can only send people to chase them. The alien queen finally remembered her mission. She sent the 8 children back and asked them to find Xiaoming who escaped. She patrolled outside the barrier, hiding and secretly laying eggs. The queen has a high IQ, she is too big a target, and her body has been tampered with by humans, so she can't run away. For now, the only solution is to produce more alien eggs. As long as one can escape the search of humans, the alien race will have a chance to gain a free world. Although her plan was good, Xiaoming had already coveted her. Speaking of which, although Xiaoming's insect human has been formed, its potential and ability in all aspects far exceed those of the alien race. However, Xiaoming has never really obtained the genetic information of the alien queen. In any case, it is a good supplement for both himself and the insect human. The 7 shadow clones sent to follow the alien queen used the image of Morpheus. At this moment, he followed the queen. As soon as he raised his hand, Claude 6 Styles and Pakuto appeared out of thin air, and the sword controlling technique. 6 weapons slid past at lightning speed and disappeared out of thin air. 5 seconds later, the head of the alien queen fell down with a click, and then its body fell into the dense forest. The sprayed body fluid corroded a large area of flowers, plants, and trees. Then, Xiaoming's mind beast, the chimeric alien queen Xiaohe, made a grand appearance, pounced on the queen and ate the queen's body. Xiaoming did not waste any of the alien eggs produced by the queen before, and all went into Xiaohe's belly. In fact, with Xiaohe's strength, he can completely kill the alien queen one-on-one. As a mind beast, Xiaohe is not afraid of the queen's corrosive liquid. But doing so will cause a lot of commotion, which will inevitably attract people from the mysterious organization. That will be difficult to deal with, so it's better to do it this way. Seeing that the time is about to end, the invisible Xiaoming is still hesitating. Should he show up and be killed by the monsters? On the one hand, he doesn't mind this character dying to complete the plot, but on the other hand, Xiaoming also wants to see what kind of terrible existence the so-called ancient god is. The result may be at the last moment. A huge mental power swept across the scene. The next second, Xiaoming's hair stood up all over his body. Fortunately, his own mental power was also very strong, and he withstood the threat of this mental power. He was not hurt. The other monsters were not so good, and they all fell to the ground. Many flying monsters fell directly from the air. The lucky ones fell half to death, and a huge bat monster with a split chin was very unlucky. When it fell, it was stuck on a small tree trunk and was directly stabbed to death. This is the mental power of a certain ancient god. So powerful. While Xiaoming admired, the ancient god also noticed the existence of Xiaoming, an alien. The huge mental power hovered over Xiaoming for a while, and then magically disappeared. At the same time, the strong sense of crisis that had been lingering in Xiaoming's heart also disappeared in an instant. WTF? The ancient god actually gave up turning against him and recognized the sacrifice ceremony that was not completely successful this time. Probably because he saw that Xiaoming was such a magical guy and performed a good drama again, the ancient god's bad taste was satisfied. So this time humans got through by luck. After escaping death, the people in the underground base cheered loudly, which was deafening. Everyone hugged each other excitedly, and some even had passionate scenes. The psychological impact of escaping death this time was really too great. Some extreme actions are understandable. As for how the plot will develop later and how the mysterious organization will recover the monsters released, these are not Xiaoming's problems. System prompt: congratulations to player Zhang Xiaoming for successfully passing the special mission level The Cabin in the Woods. I believe that Xiaoming has completed this special task to a high degree, and the reward he received is really good. General item: Level 3 Summoning Cube. Level 3 Summoning Cube. It is composed of 27 glass cages in the upper, middle, and lower layers, shaped like a normal level 3 Rubik's Cube. A maximum of 27 monsters can be stored in the Rubik's Cube. In the main game of Magic Planet or any secret realm, they can be summoned to help players fight. Of course, the appearance and maintenance of each monster requires the player's character's mana. It is rare for ordinary players to support the use of one monster for a short time. However, a guy like Xiaoming with unlimited energy can probably release all the monsters and he can hold on. This is how triple source energy is fouled. At present, there are only 3 monsters stored in the Rubik's Cube. These are the 3 types that Xiaoming defeated personally. Level 5, Level 20 Nightmare Ghost Freddy, Level 3, Level 30 Rural Killing Zombie Buckner Family, Level 5, Level 40 Strategic Creature Alien Queen. The alien warriors were not killed by 11 Xiaoming, so they are not among those that can be summoned. Although Xiaoming stole the monsters in the underground base and injured a few of them, he did not kill them completely. Now they cannot be summoned. Tisk, if I had known this, Xiaoming would have killed a few more. There are hundreds of them in the base, so it should be no problem for Xiaoming to get a few. Magic Planet Online Game. Author: Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 792. The game room door opened collectively, and 13 people got out of the special game room at the same time. What we are participating in is actually a special combat mission belonging to the military, and there are many people involved. Therefore, the system gives a ranking list of task completion. Fortunately, no specific data is given. It only shows who did the best at the task and who did the worst, ranked in order. Give everyone a little privacy. Xiaoming is naturally ranked first. If the scores are displayed, Xiaoming estimates that he will leave the second place by many points. Because the second person among the 13 people is Gu Yao, it will be obvious after such a comparison. She must have benefited from Xiaoming a lot. Xiaoming deserves his first place. Although it is not ruled out that some people hide their strength and sneak into this mission. But it's unlikely that an S-level player will emerge, right? And ordinary players can't get any good results. Even if Gu Yao sees this ranking, she will only think that Zhang Xiaoming has persisted for a while longer than her. With Xiaoming's martial arts and skills, it seems normal. Aha! Zhang Xiaoming, you actually lasted longer than me. By the way, I was hummed to death right away. I didn't see what kind of monster it was. Did you see it? Gu Yao went for the monsters, but she only saw zombies, which made her quite unhappy. It's a pity that I didn't see the alien Yazi. I hid high in the tree. I climbed too high and couldn't see clearly at first. Later they climbed up the tree and chased me, but I saw them in the moonlight. Xiaoming paused for a moment, then briefly described the appearance and characteristics of the alien warrior. Focus on the alien exoskeleton and corrosive body fluids. If you encounter it in the future, you should be prepared in advance. After listening to Xiaoming's description, the expressions on other people's faces were different, but none of them smiled knowingly. It seems that none of them encountered aliens. Gu Ziyi, you and Zhang are in the same group. Let me go, you two are first and second. Tell me quickly, how are you doing? This is what Gan Lin asked Gu Yao. It's so unlucky, Mingzi. If only I were in the same group as you, then the second place would definitely be mine at the same time, Tan Guangguan said to Xiaoming regretfully. Okay, why don't you say you can take first place? Asterisk 2. Li Lu and Jing Jing actually complained in unison. Xiaoao Erxian and Nanbei Erqiao both laughed. Everyone in Tan Guangguan's team admired Xiaoming's strength. Even in their daydreams, they never expected to surpass Xiaoming. Then more than a dozen people started talking enthusiastically in the special operations room without leaving. This kind of post-war summary was allowed and promoted by the military. The military can learn a lot through audio and video recordings in special operations rooms. For example, the details of the task, the achievements each person achieved, the experience gained, and so on. After a heated discussion, no one else knew what was going on. Only Xiaoming roughly understood it based on his own experience. The original plot of The Cabin in the Woods was about 5 college students who were arranged to make sacrifices in a cabin in the woods. But only 3 of them died. The 2 people who served as the girl and the fool actually entered the underground base by mistake and figured out the truth of the matter. The humans in the base at that time wanted to kill the 2 of them to complete the sacrificial ceremony, but in the end, they fought to the death and released all the monsters. The original work was also drunk. Such an important base actually has a button that can release all the monsters at the same time, and it's so easy to reach. The monsters bloodbathed the entire underground base, but these 2 people persisted. In the end, because the sacrificial ceremony was not completed, the ancient god rushed out of the ground. This special mission was carried out by many people at the same time. Divide into groups of 5 and perform the sacrificial ceremony individually. What kind of monsters everyone faces depends entirely on the choices of each group of people. The 5 college students in the original work no longer appear in the secret realm. In this mission, the player is actually facing a certain death situation. Even if you can defeat a group of monsters, you can't defeat a continuous stream of monsters sent by the base. Even if they are not defeated by monsters and the ancient god appears in the end, everyone will still be GG. No one can survive the attacks of the old gods. The difference lies in how many waves of monster attacks the player can withstand. In addition, an important watershed for scoring depends on whether the player can discover the underground base. Knowing the truth about the plot will add a lot of points to the player. And Xiaoming did something that almost no player has ever done. Not only did he do all the above, he also survived in the end and made the ancient gods give up on destroying the world. The score he got is probably over the top. Maybe the total scores of all other players participating in the mission are not as high as Xiaoming alone. As for the minimum standard for clearing the cabin in the woods, it is enough to defeat a wave of monsters. If you can't defeat even one wave of monsters, then this mission will be considered a failure. Of course, I only managed to defeat a few monsters, and I didn't get any decent rewards. Starting from the second wave, there are summoning rewards. But unlike the permanent summoning ability obtained by Xiaoming, players can only summon a monster to fight for themselves for a period of time. The situation is similar to the Soul of Overlord that Xiao Ming once obtained, except that the power of the monster here is naturally far less than that of Xiang Yu's soul. If the player can discover the underground base, they can obtain a glass cage that can temporarily seal monsters. Although this cage can only be used a few times. However, it can be used to seal monsters outside of the cabin in the woods. This is a big improvement. It is conceivable that if you find a very powerful monster and seal it, and then release it when you enter other secret realms, it may have a miraculous effect. Only if Xiao Ming not only defeats many monsters, but also visits the underground base, and meets the ancient god by the way, and survives. Will he get the last kind of permanent treasure level 3 summoning cube? If Xiao Ming works harder, maybe he can get a level 4, level 5, or even higher level cube. This kind of cube is a divine weapon for others, but it is inevitably a bit useless for Xiao Ming. It can only seal some monsters and then release them as his subordinates. But Xiao Ming's own beast subordinates are enough. Besides, there are powerful shadow clones. Level 5 Freddy and Alien Queen are just ordinary shadow clone level soldiers. Xiao Ming can summon hundreds of ordinary shadow clones at once. These two are not bad at all. The Buckner family, who slaughtered zombies in the countryside, was only a rank 3 soldier, which was already cannon fodder for Xiao Ming. I don't know if this Rubik's Cube can be traded, but it should be worth a few silver coins if sold. But then again, money seems to be even more useless to Xiao Ming now. It would be great if he had a chance to exchange it for 2 fun things. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 793. In special missions, even if the team members do not enter the same secret realm, their results will still have a certain impact on each other. However, when the results are not very different, the proportion of this impact is generally very small, and there is no obvious effect. However, in this mission, Xiao Ming's results are really outstanding, and there is a huge difference compared to other players. Even if a small part is divided, the results of the 10 or so players in the same team are generally raised to a higher level. This is not surprising. Xiao Ming can compete with the goddess Eva in the world of Avatar and sit on an equal footing. The ancient gods in the world of the cabin in the woods are not as powerful as Eva. When they meet a strong man like Xiao Ming, they will naturally give him some face. Maybe the ancient god plans to make friends with Xiao Ming in the future. It's just that the secret realm ended before that. Every player in Xiao Ming's group received a glass cage, which can also be called a level 1 summoning cube. After all, the so-called level 1 cube is a cage. Among them, only Gu Yao's level 1 Rubik's Cube is permanent, and it also contains 2 zombies of the Buckner family. The Rubik's Cubes of other players have a limit on the number of uses, ranging from about 3 to 7 times. There are currently no monsters locked in it, and each player needs to catch them by himself. Such a harvest is already very shocking. Ordinary people cannot compare and may not know the difference. As military agents, Zhao Yongmeng and Gu Weiner quickly received internal news. After comparing the harvest, they immediately found that they had received excessive rewards. In addition to the 2 of them, Tan Guangwen also had some connections, and he also learned about the situation after a secret exchange. Zhao and Gu were more rational. After comprehensively analyzing the situation, they have not yet directly identified Xiao Ming as the culprit of this incident. Tan Guangwen was more impulsive and experienced. Xiao Ming once helped his team pass the level of the entry point of the Harry Potter world. At that time, Lao Tan already felt that Xiao Ming was very extraordinary. Later, a group of them had a deeper understanding of the Harry Potter secret realm and further experienced magic. They felt more and more the magic and power of this secret realm. Similarly, Xiaoming could help them pass the level test so easily. That was definitely not something that could be done with good luck. Xiaoming himself must be quite powerful. This special mission gave Tan Guangwen a strong sense of déjà vu again. It was as if history was repeating itself. He led his people to work hard, but there was no improvement, and in the end he passed the level inexplicably. He simply won by riding on Xiaoming's coattails. Therefore, Lao Tan now immediately determined that the person who was operating Xiaoming's body at this moment was probably Zhang Xiaoming himself. Except for a few people, most people knew the value of general items. Especially this kind of summoning items, which were even more invaluable. The level 1 magic cube they got could at least seal a level 5 monster. If they worked hard, there would be a chance to seal a level 6 monster. You know, in the main game of Magic Planet, the mainstream level of player characters is around level 3. Even the leveling madman did not reach level 4. Therefore, the character's mercenaries could not exceed level 3. Even if a player is doing well and has a good position in the NPC forces. In that case, at most, he can only get a guard like a shadow warrior who is one level higher than the character. If Lao Tan and his team suddenly summoned a 5th or 6th level monster on the adventure map, they can basically suppress the whole scene. With such high level subordinates, whether it is fighting a boss or doing a task, it can be solved easily. This magic cube is simply a magic weapon. Even if it is not used in the main game, it can be used in different secret realms. As long as the timing is right and the monsters are chosen properly, it can produce unexpected results. There are at least 5 such things in Tan Guangwen's team now, which is really too happy. And this sense of happiness also permeates the air of the entire special operations room. Xiaoming and 13 other people were chatting with laughter, and time passed quickly. Unknowingly, the Yulinling group left first, Zhao Yongmeng and Gu Weiner also left, and Yu Jingjing took Li Lu away. Finally, Xiao Ao Erxian, Nan Bei Erkiao, Tan Guangwen and Xiaoming left together. On the way, Tan Guangwen took Xiaoming to eat supper alone, and separated from the other 4 people. The supper on the transport ship was very simple, all ready-made meals, just heat it in the microwave and you can eat it. Seeing that there was no one around, Tan Guangwen finally said what he had always wanted to say. Mingzi, I really don't know how to thank you this time. By the way, is the flying car still working last time? It's okay, I don't go out often, usually, you are such a cunning beef noodle. When Xiaoming is with his friends, he is not very vigilant. The key is that he has his absolute strength as a backing, so he doesn't have to be vigilant every minute and every second. Now he is in a very relaxed mood, but Tan Guangwen immediately got the truth out of him. Tan Guangwen did give Xiaoming a flying car produced by the Loose Cultivator Alliance, but it was given to Xiaoming's original body on Pangu Star, not this replica. According to the false information Xiaoming had shown to various forces before, he himself had not established any connection with Xiaoming. As soon as Xiaoming said this, he admitted that it was Zhang Xiaoming himself who was manipulating Xiaoming. Once this matter is exposed, people from other forces will soon be able to analyze that it is Zhang Xiaoming himself who attracts the light spirit. Then everything will be exposed. Xiaoming can no longer hide. He does have a certain strength, but it depends on who he is compared with. Facing the major families and major forces of Pangu Star, Xiaoming is at an absolute disadvantage. Maybe Xiaoming himself can still get away, but what about his sister? What about his parents? What about Brother Wen? Even if these people can be taken away, what about the group of veterans who work for him? Just ignore it? What if the various forces use them as a threat? For those people who stand at the pinnacle of power, Xiaoming dare not pin his hopes on their conscience. The next second, Tan Guangwen fell asleep on the table. Of course, it was not because he was too sleepy and fell asleep involuntarily. In fact, Xiaoming used Freddy's ability on Tan Guangwen, forcing Lao Tan to fall into the dream world, which is Xiaoming's moon reading world. In fact, Xiaoming can also summon the 7th shadow clone with Sherry Nan to use Tsukuyomi. But if he does that, it will definitely make a lot of noise. Such strong chakra appears in the 9th dispatch fleet, and it is hard to guarantee that it will not be discovered by other reincarnations in the fleet. Using Freddy's dream ability is much more secretive. Ordinary masters can't feel it. This is very suitable for Xiaoming, who is a wretched style. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 794. In the Tsukuyomi dream world, Xiaoming tried his best to explain his situation to Tan Guangwen. Of course, he couldn't mention the source energy, he couldn't talk about the insect humans and insect races. His true strength, 3 silver, yellow and green bodies, the gold VIP of the reincarnation space, the private world of Yu Yu Hakusho, there were too many things he couldn't talk about. He could only make up a background story according to the positioning of himself by outsiders. In the story, Xiaoming had studied abroad for many years in his early years, and it made sense that he had some adventures. At least it gave people a feeling, oh, it turned out that he had adventures because he went abroad, no wonder. Many people can be psychologically balanced if they think this way. In fact, this excuse has no logic at all. Xiaoming's adventures were not during the time he was abroad. But it would be more effective to say it this way. Abroad, Xiaoming was selected by a sect of immortal cultivation for reasons he himself didn't know, and was taught some skills. After returning to China, after years of hard study and practice, he finally made some progress recently. As a result, he never expected that the skill could also be used in the game. Then he was chosen by the reincarnation space, showed his strength, and was noticed by various forces. There are so many things. Xiaoming said that he was also confused about attracting light spirits. In order to avoid being caught and sliced for research, he tried hard to pretend that he was not the one attracting light spirits. Today, I was accidentally tested by Tan Guangwen. Please keep the secret for me, Your Majesty, and never tell anyone. If the news leaks out, my family will be miserable. Even classmates and friends will be affected. Xiaoming deliberately said it so solemnly, and according to the habit of the small circle, he called him Your Majesty just to make Tan Guangwen take it seriously. Unexpectedly, after listening to Xiaoming's story, the first reaction of old Tan was to give a pair of thumbs up. B. D. Oh my god. Mingzi, you are so awesome. You started from scratch, and now you have more influence than my family. You are amazing. At asterisk, Xiaoming was confused. Brother, you got the point wrong. I know, it's just a secret. Don't worry, brother. I am the most strict. Tan Guangwen patted his chest to assure. Listening to his casual tone and looking at his life energy, it seems that he doesn't take it very seriously. Xiaoming is worried. Relatives may be sad, but others are already singing. This is not their fault. After all, it is not his life at stake. No matter how much he cares, it is impossible for him to be the same as Xiaoming himself. Besides, the world that Tan Guangwen comes into contact with is almost 2 completely different levels from the world that Xiaoming comes into contact with. Old Tan has no concept of superpowers and super forces. The world in his eyes is still relatively beautiful. Of course, this does not mean that he will be like a gossipy woman and tell others about Xiaoming's affairs. Tan Guangwen will still keep the secret for Xiaoming. It's just that the confidentiality level is not as high as Xiaoming needs. If he really encounters some special circumstances, he may still leak the secret. Helplessly, Xiaoming had to use another telepathic ability on him, Whisper. Under normal circumstances, Xiaoming would not use this ability on his friends. This is the special ability of Zhang Tong, the Star of Heaven, recorded in the Insect Man General Star Record. It shows how much Tan Guangwen values keeping the secret for himself. After being whispered, Tan Guangwen's expression immediately became 100 times more serious than before. Xiaoming felt a little relieved. Suddenly I remembered the online novels I had read before. If it was the kind of decisive and murderous pig feat, then the murderer should be killed to silence the mouth, leaving no possibility of leakage. However, Guo Daxia said it well: how can a good person be killed by mistake? Xiaoming can't do such a thing at all. He can only settle for the second best and use telepathic ability to influence Tan Guangwen. But the final effect depends on whether God will give face. Whispering has improved confidentiality, but it also brought some side effects. Tan Guangwen felt that since he had kept such a big secret for Xiaoming, Xiaoming should also give something in return. When he said this, an expression of "why did I think of it just now?" appeared on old Tan's face. In fact, he did think of it just now. Before he paid little attention to this secret, he had no intention of selling it. Under the influence of whispering, he not only paid attention to this matter, but also thought of taking advantage of the opportunity to make some benefits. I don't know if Xiaoming is shooting himself in the foot. Then again, Tan Guangwen's old classmates are all very good people, and Xiaoming had thought about helping them before. But he didn't want to expose his strength, and he couldn't find a suitable excuse, so he didn't dare to really take action. At the same time, he was also worried that if he did something like a little bit of kindness and a big bit of hatred, it would backfire. Now his strength has been exposed, and he has an excuse. As long as we pay attention to the degree when helping them, there shouldn't be any problem. Seeing that it was safe, Xiaoming took Tan Guangwen out of the Tsukuyomi world and returned to reality. The two pretended to eat the food in front of them. Xiaoming said while eating, "I think what you need to improve most is your personal strength. I happen to have some tricks in this regard, and I will give you a chance to try." Upon hearing this, old Tan immediately rolled up his sleeves excitedly. Come on, improve me quickly." Looking at the space tights exposed from inside, Xiaoming smiled, pointed at the tights and said, "Your Majesty, don't be too anxious. Look, we are now in the Yellow Emperor Galaxy, and those sitting here are all clones." "Damn, right, look at my pig brain. Hey, then let's quickly cut off the connection and return to Pangu Star." Speaking of this, Tan Guangwen suddenly came to his senses and there was no need to be so anxious. Then he laughed and said, "Haha, sorry, I'm out of my mind. How can it be so urgent? You decide. I'll bring someone to your house when I'm free. Or you can come to my place." I understand. Brother, don't mind." Xiaoming comforted beef noodles and said, "How about this? I'll send a clone to your house to stay permanently. He can establish a connection between us, and it will be easy to improve your strength then." After a pause, Xiaoming said, "My suggestion is that it is better to give 1 or 2 people a try. Experience the feeling, observe if there are any side effects, and then improve collectively." "Well, you are still thoughtful." Tan Guangwen's eyes suddenly lit up, and he said in a weird tone, "The Emperor of the Heaven and the Mandate of Heaven has issued an edict that there is a scholar named Zhang Xiaoming who has made great contributions. I specially confer you the title of Grand Master of Protecting the Country, and the King of One Word shoulder to shoulder. I decree this. I accept the order and thank you." Ha 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 ha. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 795. That night, Xiaoming's Qi Yao Shadow clone left home and drove the hero speed car presented by Tan Guangwen to Lao Tan's villa. The hive of the League of Legends northern headquarters is actually not far from the Tan family's villa. You can definitely go and have a look. But using a shadow clone to enter the hive seems impolite. This idea swirled in Xiaoming's mind for a moment and then he gave up. When he arrived near Lao Tan's villa, Lao Tan had already brought several classmates in advance to wait for him outside the villa. He really took it very seriously. "Welcome Xiao Ming into the living room and sit down." Several classmates winked at each other. Except for Guangwen, everyone else knelt down on one knee and shouted unevenly. "I see the word Grand Protector of the country stands alongside His Highness the King." In fact, Xiao Ming had already noticed that they were trying to play tricks, so he was unmoved and just rolled his eyes in return. Let them figure it out for themselves. After some discussion, and at Xiao Ming's suggestion, we decided unanimously. It is best to postpone the collective improvement of strength to the reincarnation mission. After all, being monitored there is n times less intense. Moreover, after a mission world ends and everyone comes back stronger, it feels logical to say it doesn't arouse too much suspicion. To this end, Xiao Ming deliberately consumed a prop from the reincarnation space, a temporary team scroll for 10 people, worth 200 points. You can book the next mission, which will be completed by a team of 10 reincarnators. As long as these 10 people sign the scroll, it will be fine. This thing is not bad. Xiao Ming has a few of them, so he can just pretend that Tan Guangwen bought them. How could Tan Guangwen afford a good thing with a 200 rating? This lie needs to be crafted more carefully. However, that's what the beef noodles and the others have to worry about, and Xiao Ming doesn't care about it. Now it is possible to upgrade only 1 or 2 people in the team, so that they can inspect the goods in advance. Based on Xiao Ming and Lao Tan's wishes, they plan to let Tan Guangwen come first. As the leader of the team, his strength is facade. As the Tan family's key training target, it is normal for their strength to have a breakthrough. However, this matter was unanimously opposed by his subordinates. "Boss, you are too important. I will strengthen you first." "What will happen if you die?" "That's right, Your Majesty, you have to take care of the dragon's body." It finally got bigger. "What you two said is very reasonable. I think I will be the guinea pig." "Come here, Mr. Ming, give it to me first, woo woo." "Dream, you. How about you two come first?" "Ladies first." "Why? You are discriminating against handsome guys, my beauty." "Ugh, please look in the mirror before you speak." I don't know why these people have so much confidence in Xiao Ming. No one thinks that Xiao Ming's strengthening is unreliable. They all use this as an excuse to prevent Tan Guangwen from being the first to be strengthened. So that I can get a head start. The important thing is that others strengthen first. If they can surpass Lao Tan, they can bully him for a few days. It will also be a long-term joke in the future. It is true that Sima Zhao's heart is known to everyone. However, public outrage is inevitable, and Tan Guangwen failed to grab the first spot to be strengthened in the end. Considering his situation in the next few days, Lao Tan Qiangang made an arbitrary decision and appointed Tu Chiao from the north and the south to carry out this reinforcement. Chiao was very popular, and everyone would argue with each other before. After Tan Guangwen decided, no one had any objections. The two of them have a very unpopular enhancement route called Cabinelli. This kind of enhancement really has no future, and it also affects the original human bloodline. Xiao Ming thought for a long time before asking, "I'm not polite. Your current bloodline is really troublesome. I have 2 plans here." After listening to the first half of the sentence, Chiao thought that Xiao Ming was about to change someone, and his eyes immediately turned a little red. When I heard that Xiao Ming actually had 2 plans, I almost choked up. Xiao Ming didn't care. The first plan is more radical. "I will strengthen you and change your bloodline. The future development prospects are limitless." "Okay, I want this." Asterisk 2, as expected of twins, they spoke as neatly as one person. "Don't worry, there are still buts." Ahem, Xiao Ming choked and continued. But this enhancement has side effects. Due to bloodline restrictions, you will not be able to disobey my orders. Don't worry, I will definitely not order you or anything. Hey, this is the weird sound made by the onlookers. Although Xiao Ming added it in time, the result seemed to have the opposite effect. Xiao blushed slightly and moved his lips, feeling embarrassed to speak. Because no matter how you say it, something doesn't seem right. Xiao Ming quickly changed his mind. There is a second option, which is safer, but the strength will be much worse. I will give you some simple enhancements. No, Xiao Ming didn't wait for him to finish his words. Xiao said in unison again. Then he said in a very firm tone, just choose the first option. Although the first option sounds a bit ambiguous. If Xiao Ming has any bad intentions, they will be in danger. But as long as they can become stronger, they don't intend to ask for any stable, safe, and secure plan. Besides, they also have enough trust in Xiao Ming's character. To be honest, Xiao has been stuck in the low-level reincarnation position for several years. Not long ago, with the help of Xiao Ming, I started learning magic, and it seems to have turned around. But magic is also difficult to master. It's like a person who has worked at the grassroots level of a company for several years but can't see any hope of promotion or salary increase. It's impossible to say that they don't worry at all. It's just that everyone is struggling at the bottom. No one is doing better, so they can only cheer up and encourage everyone. They dare not say discouraging words in front of others. Now they have encountered such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Who wants to be safe? As long as their strength can be greatly improved, they are willing to lose 10 years of life. Seeing that Xiao Ming seemed to be retreating, they didn't care about being reserved and quickly stated their position. They were shocked by the stubbornness in the voices of the two girls. Others could understand it, so they stopped joking. They couldn't even say words to persuade them to think twice before acting. After a short awkward silence, Tan Guangwen spoke. Ming, the first option you just mentioned. Isn't it too dangerous? Of course not. Any option that would endanger life has been rejected by me long ago. After exchanging glances with the two Jiao sisters, Tan Guangwen made the final decision, then let's do it. Xiao Ming's 7-star shadow clone raised his hand, and a spiked tail stretched out from the void, piercing the necks of the two girls. The insect evolution needle and life essence were injected into the bodies of the two girls at the same time. The magical changes happened before everyone's eyes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 796. Two dark green figures shuttled back and forth in the training room, extremely fast. Except for Xiao Ming, no one else could see their movements clearly. Xiao Ming was very good at it. Sometimes they couldn't stop and almost hit Xiao Ming, but Xiao Ming could easily avoid it. As for hitting other places, it doesn't matter. It's healthier to hit. She casually summoned a dozen skeleton soldiers in the training room to be their opponents. These skeletons are about level 2. Two green shadows passed by each skeleton soldier like lightning. In just 10 seconds, more than a dozen skeleton soldiers turned into broken bones all over the ground. Now Xiao Ming's skeleton soldiers are definitely not ordinary. Fighting alone, only Tan Guangwen can steadily beat a skeleton soldier among these people. The others are probably evenly matched. Now they were all chopped to pieces by these two in one encounter. Her combat power has increased too much at once. Okay, the test is over. You two should stop. If you keep going, the people watching outside will vomit, Xiao Ming said with a smile. The two figures stopped, and they were Qiao Zionan and Qiao Xiaobei. They have evolved into insect humans mixed with mantis genes, twin mantis girls. Now they are undergoing combat power tests. Fortunately, the heads of the two girls did not turn into the triangular heads of mantises, which would be too scary. However, the eyes of the two girls have become much larger than before, and their pupils are emerald green, which improves their vision and appearance. 60% of their skin is covered by dark green exoskeleton, just like a beautiful girl wearing a beautiful armor that simulates insect exoskeleton. Even if they don't wear any clothes and walk on the street, they will not be seen naked. At most, they will be regarded as cosplay enthusiasts. That's 60% exoskeleton armor, not to mention the private parts. Other parts are also covered a lot. Let's put it this way, any girl going out in summer is probably dressed much more exposed than them. The legs of the mantis girls are extremely strong, allowing the two women to achieve extremely high speeds in a small area. Two sickles are hidden in a pair of forearms, made of the exoskeleton material of the insect man, and are extremely sharp. They can be ejected during battle and held with both hands to meet the enemy. Combined with their high speed, they are simply unstoppable. There are also two pairs of transparent membrane wings folded in the armor behind the two women, allowing them to fly short distances. But to be honest, these two pairs of wings are more useful when accelerating movement during battle. It's really tiring to fly. The most amazing thing is that there is actually a pair of shorter middle arms around their waists. After all, mantises are six-legged insects. This pair of middle arms are usually wrapped around the waist, and after being concealed by armor, they are like belts. But they can attack unexpectedly during battle. Of course, due to the short length of the middle arms, they can generally only be used for sneak attacks when fighting with the enemy in close combat. Xiaoming felt that it was not practical enough, so he gave each of the two women a few pistols. It's just an ordinary pistol, not a hacker energy pistol. It's so mean to suddenly take out a pistol to attack the enemy while fighting fiercely. The actual combat effect is also very good. The combat power of the two Jiao sisters in the north and south has directly rushed to between the third and fourth levels from the previous level 2. It's definitely D-level strength. This improvement is huge. If measured by the level of Chimera ants, the two girls are not as good as the captain of the army, but among ordinary Chimera ant soldiers, they are definitely above average. The twin girls have no aversion to evolving into insect humans. After all, the two girls were already Cabanelli before, and their image is not as good as that of insect humans. In fact, they are both girls, and the melee style of girls is not quite right. Xiaoming wants to evolve them into long-range soldiers. Unfortunately, the foundation of Cabanelli is originally a melee soldier. If the combat style is changed, the extra consumption will be greater. Some are not cost-effective. So Xiaoming still follows the previous melee route to strengthen the sisters. The effect is also very satisfactory. You should know that this is just the physical fitness of the insect humans, which brings strength to the two beauties. Xiaoming has not given them any supernatural energy such as spiritual power, demon power, telekinesis, microcosm, etc. This is the only way for the time being. Because after obtaining supernatural energy, the strength of the two women will increase by leaps and bounds. It would be too eye-catching now, so let's wait and see. Choosing to evolve them into insect humans is the inspiration Xiaoming got from the Chimera ants. In the world of Hunter x Hunter, the Chimera ants confronted humans and occupied the capital of the Republic of East Gotu. The three guards used the method of transforming strong humans into Chimera ants to expand their military strength and plot for the world. Xiaoming has been with the top leaders of the Chimera ants for so long, and they still keep in touch in the private world. He has long organically integrated the Chimera ants' techniques with his own insect evolution needle ability. Comparing with each other, learning from each other's strengths and weaknesses, and removing the dross and retaining the essence, both sides have benefited a lot. If not, how could Xiaoming dare to use the insect man evolution needle on the two Jiao sisters today? The risk is too great. Another key point is that the reincarnation can find a good excuse to transform into an insect man. Use space as a shield. The next time you pass through the reincarnation world, you can say that you saw the chimera ant and were caught and transformed. No one can say anything. This type of enhancement also has a certain probability of encountering in the reincarnation space. It can even be called an encounter. But the side effects are also quite large. If you can't stand it, you may have a nervous breakdown. Remember the giant scorpion that the insect king Lu Xiaoming encountered in the Chu galaxy? That is a living example. Originally a high-level insect race, because he was selected into the reincarnation space, he became a reincarnator and got the so-called adventure. As a result, he was tossed into a fool. In the end, even the skin and meat went into the stomachs of Xiaoming's subordinates. So such an adventure will not particularly arouse the envy and hatred of others. Because the side effects are still hard to say. Of course, the real adventure of Tang Guangguan's group is to get along well with Xiaoming. Xiaoming's enhancement of them definitely does not have those messy side effects. Safe, reliable, and non-toxic. Seeing that Xiao stopped the test, several people who were watching outside through the window ran in quickly. Surrounding the twins, they began to comment. Because they were too envious, they even touched Xiao's exoskeleton armor. The armor of the insect people is actually keratinized skin, and it feels a little itchy when touched. How could the girl's body be touched casually? The two girls jumped behind Xiaoming and hid. As a result, they jumped too hard, and the strong wind blew down the other people. If they want to fully control this powerful force, they still need to work harder. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 797. After becoming insect humans, Xiaonan and Xiaobei could clearly feel that their blood was full of loyalty to Xiaoming. In modern society, loyalty is actually a luxury. Here we are referring to the loyalty between people. Moreover, the values of today's era advocate personal freedom and independence. Simple and blind loyalty is even denied, and it should not exist. As a modern independent woman, Xiao said that loyalty is imprinted in her blood. It is not a problem at all. This is actually a transaction that each party needs. Xiaoming gave them strong strength, and under certain conditions, they are willing to be loyal. As for whether Xiaoming will use this loyalty to do whatever he wants to them, or even let them do bad things, it can only be said that they have already recognized Xiaoming's character and made a choice. If the unspeakable thing really happened, they can only blame themselves for being blind and recognizing the wrong person. Xiaoming made it very clear at the beginning about loyalty. It is precisely because Xiaoming said the ugly words at the beginning that the two girls are more relieved. Of course, there is one thing they didn't say, but they really thought so in their hearts. If Xiaoming is really interested in their bodies, they are willing to pay this price. Just treat it as a one-night stand. When they saw a strange spike, tail, appear out of thin air, the two Jiao sisters in the north and south were full of uneasiness and expectation. It only took a few minutes for the insect evolution needle to take effect from injection, and there was no particularly uncomfortable feeling. The two girls soon found that their strength quickly surpassed the bottleneck of Cabinelli. They reached a stronger stage. This is a matter of course. Cabinelli can barely be regarded as a bloodline. However, the level is too low. In the face of the strong bloodline of the insect man, it was quickly absorbed and dissolved, and even a splash of water could not be made. After becoming insect people, although Xiaoming has not planted super seeds in them, they can both feel that their future has become very broad. And most importantly, their own fertility seems to have recovered. At least as a female, various parts can be used again. In fact, in the chimera ant colony, only the chimera ant queen is female, and all other chimera ants are male. Under normal circumstances, the reproduction of the colony is the responsibility of the queen. the reproduction ability of the chimera ant is suppressed. When the queen dies, this suppression will disappear. Chimera ants can look for females of other races to reproduce. So, are all chimera ants, including Neferpotug, male? Actually, not really. What was mentioned above is the characteristics of purebred chimera ants, that is, the characteristics of insects that are not even as big as a human palm. After the chimera ant queen was transformed by human scientists, the chimera ant queen combined with human genetic information is no longer the original insect. There have been great changes in the gender of the soldiers. Chimera ants have both male and female chimera ants from the division commander down, and there are also those who are born genderless. However, in the presence of a king or queen, the gender of the chimera ant is still suppressed. This is the situation of humanoid chimera ants. When it comes to insect humans, there is another change. At the beginning, the Zerg humans also had no gender characteristics. Consider the several sources of the Zerg humans and you will know. Aliens, chimera ants, and Zergs are all genderless groups. The reproduction of the race depends on a few individuals in the group that can reproduce, such as the queen or the queen. The body of the Zerg king was transformed from a new Zerg. The Zerg is also the dominant gene. So the Zerg humans had no real gender characteristics from the beginning, but this situation changed in the later days. In the world of Zombie Diary 2, Xiao Ming was given the ability to create humans by the goddess Nuwa. That is the real ability to create life, open wisdom, and give souls. Since then, the entire Zerg human group has begun to change subtly. The shackles of reproduction are loosening bit by bit. This loosening cannot be felt by those born Zerg humans, because they didn't know about individual reproduction before. So they can only feel a very illusory change, but they can't figure out what it is. But the two Chiao sisters in the north and south are different. As former humans, they know very well what this change means. Although they still do not have the ability to reproduce at this moment. But they have a premonition that one day in the future, the ability to reproduce will return to them again. Motherhood can be said to be one of the important cornerstones of human society. Without it, there would be no human society today. The two beauties have changed too much in appearance. In order to hide their tracks, they can only hide temporarily and not see outsiders. It will be fine after the next reincarnation. It is just right to accept the teachings of the Seven Stars Shadow clone. To be honest, they are not used to having such a strong physical attribute, and they may hurt people with every move. With the help of the 6th level Shadow clone to suppress them, they can easily learn to restrain their edge. The power of example is infinite. The changes of the two Chiao sisters gave Tan Guangwen's team great hope. Most of the other members of the team are boys. Compared with girls, boys don't care about the image problem. Moreover, in the eyes of many people, the insect human form is actually quite handsome. It also comes with armor. If you are lucky, you can also get the ability to fly, or other more fun abilities. Several people have started to imagine what kind of abilities they want. A while ago, the Zishixiang family used the Bull King's summons to call on a large number of reincarnations to enter the Mars alien world to help Xiao Xiang Mo pass the test. Hundreds of reincarnations above level C participated, most of whom were individual players. So the information about the Martian alien world spread with these people. The most attractive ones are those who have obtained the abilities of insects or other creatures through MO surgery. Since it is called surgery, it may be a skill that can be mastered. Therefore, those who are interested in this in the major forces have begun to collect relevant information and props. And those Lone Rangers are more interested in abilities. They don't care about mastering any surgical techniques, they just hope that they can get the abilities they want. So the Lone Rangers are also actively trying to find ways to get tickets to enter the Martian alien world, that is, invitations. As subordinates on the periphery of a major force, the Tan family naturally heard about this news. Everyone was very interested, but the Tan family was still far from being strong enough, and it was simply a daydream to seek such high-end things. They could only seek the right to participate in special military missions on the magic planet. This was the gap in strength and status. But I didn't expect that the daydream would come true one day. Finally, I was no longer a salted fish. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 798. In the past 2 weeks, the three Xiaomings have been entangled in various affairs, and the main game has been delayed. Fortunately, Xiao Er, Xiao San, Xiao Si, and Xiao Wu, the 4 intelligent programs, have all obtained independent souls. They can completely replace Xiaoming to operate the 4 game characters such as the Explorer, and their authority in the game is the same as Xiaoming. But in terms of strength, there is a world of difference. Xiaoming's own strength has far exceeded the 4 game characters, so in the game, he mostly uses his own tyrannical strength to solve problems. When Xiao Er and other intelligent programs are replaced to operate, it is necessary to rely on the strength of the characters themselves. The strength of Xiaoming's 4 characters is inevitably a bit disappointing, and has fallen behind the average level of current players. Fortunately, Xiaoming basically plays standalone games by himself, rarely communicates with players, and does all tasks by himself. He doesn't have to compete with others. Moreover, Xiao Er and his friends have just been awakened, and they don't have much utilitarianism for the game, but are more curious. Xiaoming simply lets each of them take charge of a role and play it however they want. Just treat it as a training for the kids. Xiao Er has been with Xiaoming the longest, and his foundation in intelligent programs is not bad. At this time, his mind suddenly became flexible, and he came up with a crazy idea. He joined the other 3 programs and made an agreement with Xiaoming. He asked Xiaoming to give them a month. During this month, Xiaoming is not allowed to enter the main game of Magic Planet, nor is he allowed to check the system records. He must let go and hand over the characters to them completely. Wait until a month later, and then test the results. See what tricks they can play by themselves. The agreement proposed by Xiao is actually quite smart. You know, Xiaoming originally had plans for these characters. The Explorer is traveling, and he may activate the copy of the Liangshan heroes. However, the difficulty of the copy will gradually increase. For the role of the Explorer, the difficulty of the copy is already too much to handle. Xiaoming must do it himself. In addition, Xiaoming also plans to focus the copy on Lu Zishan, Wu Song, Lin Chong, and others. Focus on brushing their favorability. Now it is all handed over to Xiao to operate, which is too worrying. It might be completely messed up. It would be fine if he didn't activate the copy. Once activated, he would definitely fail due to insufficient strength. I don't know what negative impact failure will have. After a copy fails, will the difficulty increase again when a new copy is activated next time? It's hard to say. Maybe, after a month, the difficulty of the Liangshan Heroes series copy has reached an unattainable level. The researcher is about to face the naval battle between the Li family and the Ladeo family. This battle cannot be delayed for another month. If Xiaoming goes out in person, the battle will naturally be successful. If not, he can just use Susanoo to smash it. Xiao San's level is unknown. Fortunately, the main force in this battle is the Li family pirates. Xiao San should have no problem mixing experience. The diver, there is nothing big to deal with. The original plan was to go to Southeast Asia for a tour first, and then go to the Indian Ocean through the Strait of Malacca. With the first guard of the temple accompanying him, there is no need to worry about strength. I just hope that Xiao Sier will not make trouble. No zo no die. The dead accuser, his situation is more troublesome. He is leading the army of the dead, playing hide and seek with players from all sides in the fog, and killing people and robbing goods. The fog was created by Xiaoming using ninjutsu. Xiao Wu'er doesn't know ninjutsu, so there is no source of fog. And the previous decapitation tactics can't be used. Although the strength of the dead accuser army is extremely strong, it is still very dangerous to face so many players' beatings. Xiaoming really wants to tell Xiao Wu'er that if he can't beat him, run away quickly. Or just withdraw the army now. Unfortunately, the agreement has been established. He was embarrassed to say his suggestion, as if he didn't believe his own children. So in this case, Xiaoming, who has been worried all the time, really can't go online. Once he goes online to check the system records, Xiaoming will probably find it difficult to control himself from interfering. In that case, how can the four guys have fun? So Xiaoming must be banned from entering the main game. They are all souls given by Xiaoming himself, just like his own children. They have such an idea, and Xiaoming is willing to fulfill it. Even if the sky is broken, the worst thing is to start over. With their own A-level combat power, they will be invincible even if they start over. These four guys are really naughty kids. Not only did they occupy Xiaoming's main game time, but when Xiaoming was not logged in, they would team up to go to various secret realms to mess around. They also caused a lot of trouble. These are all later stories. It's good to leave the game to the four of them. Yin Xiaoming can concentrate more on helping Fei Ying find his sister. However, in the first week, I was really worried. I was always worried that they would mess up things in the game. In addition, I was also worried about how they would deal with players when they met. People's hearts are like ghosts, which is not what they can imagine. Don't wait until I go back, they have been deceived and have nothing left. It was not until after the reincarnation mission on August 8 that Xiaoming's mentality stabilized. After that, Xiaoming really helped Fei Ying to find it wholeheartedly. Last week, he just dealt with it casually. As the ancients said, God rewards hard work. As long as you work hard, you will definitely get something in return. As the weekend of the 14th approaches, they actually found out some useful information. There is a high-end club that Xiaoming and others cannot enter. An auction is being held in the most high-end area inside. Although Xiaoming cannot enter, he can use Yuan to visit it at will. All kinds of priceless jewelry, jade, antiques, calligraphy and paintings, there are even monsters auctioned here. They are really not afraid of death. Two of the rich people mentioned the iced tear stone in the conversation. Xiaoming was immediately attracted. Iced tear stone. Which iced tear stone? Could it be the one that Fei Ying lost? Although it is unlikely, it doesn't hurt to ask. The auction of the rich is something that ordinary people can only dream of but not reach. In the eyes of Xiaoming, Kurama, and Fei Ying, it is just a scum. There is no need to force your way in, the new skills that Xiaoming just learned just take effect. In the dream world of Tsukuyomi, Xiaoming took Fei Ying and Kurama to interrogate the two rich people. I learned that a gem merchant named Taken Gonzo has auctioned iced tear stone several times in the past few years. It is said that he has won the favor and admiration of a snow woman. But with his appearance, could it be that a blind snow woman fell in love with him? It sounds like it is worth investigating. However, Xiaoming has little time left, so Kurama and Hai will investigate this matter first. After Xiaoming's reincarnation mission is completed, he will come back to help immediately. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 799. Next, we will focus on the two reincarnation missions on August 8 and August 15. On August 8, when entering the reincarnation space, there was a new face in Mingjing's team. The fox demon Kurama, once an A-level big monster, was no less than Zhang Zhong and Neferpitu, and has only recovered to sea-level combat power. He has extensive knowledge, strong skills, and meticulous mind. It is difficult for Xiaoming to hide too many secrets in front of him. Xiaoming originally planned to be friends with Kurama. But Kurama could see from the clues that Xiaoming was often in danger. When the benefactor is in trouble, he should sacrifice his life to help. How could he stay out of it? It's just that Xiaoming's danger comes from the uncertainty of the reincarnation space, which is completely different from the kind of being hunted by people that Kurama imagined. So under Kurama's strong push, Xiaoming half-heartedly accepted him as his fourth follower. Such a person with unlimited potential took the initiative to ask to be a follower. Xiaoming certainly wanted it. It was just because Xiaoming didn't agree directly, considering that the word follower was not nice and everyone was the same as being friends. Xiaoming was even willing to make Zhang Ma a formal member of the Mingjing team, but Zhang Ma refused. Because as a teammate, there is still a possibility of being arranged separately by space, but as a follower, Zhang Ma can definitely follow Xiaoming. In order to repay his gratitude, Zhang Ma didn't mind the title of a follower at all. It's just a false name. On the other hand, he could also feel Xiaoming's potential. His intuition told him that following Xiaoming would definitely be the right choice. After Zhang Ma became a follower, he had the guarantee of the reincarnation space, and Xiaoming no longer had to hide anything from Zhang Ma. After truly seeing Xiaoming's background, this once powerful A-level monster could no longer remain calm. 3 bodies, multiple supernatural energies, powerful abilities, Guangmingding, Kunlun, private world, insect humans, insect tribes, demon world plane. At this moment, Zhang Ma deeply believed that as long as he had his own assistance with a rich background, Xiaoming will have no problem reaching the top of the demon world in the future. Maybe he can even compete with the 3 giants Huangquan, Lei Zhen, and Chu, and compete with each other. To be honest, this is because he has not felt the true strength of the 3 giants in the demon world, otherwise he would not have such a naive idea. Since Kang Ma became Xiaoming's follower, he has been very familiar with Xiaoming's subordinates with his extraordinary communication skills, and he gets along best with the tree demon Xiaolu. It's no wonder that Kang Ma's fighting method is to use demon power to weaponize any plant. He prefers all plants. It just so happens that Xiaolu is a plant monster, and countless props from the Plants vs. Zombies system grow on his body. With the source of these new weapons, Kang Ma's strength almost doubled immediately. After being blessed by plant weapons and props, an ordinary zombie can become a turret. A class A monster like Kang Ma can at least support a war fortress. Unfortunately, in Kang Ma's first debut in the reincarnation world, none of these abilities were used. The world of reincarnation is a world without supernatural power. Because of the lock on the private world, Xiaoming lost a VIP privilege. In different levels of mission worlds, his supernatural energy will be restricted to different degrees. If it is an ordinary person's world, he must deal with it with the quality of an ordinary person. It is estimated that Qingxinglu is based on the principle of no use, no expiration, and the first mission world after Xiaoming lost his privilege is a world without supernatural energy at all. Similarly, the other members of Mingjing's team and Xiaoming's followers have also lost their supernatural energy. Face this mission as an ordinary human. To be honest, Xiaoming has been prepared for this, so none of the 3 bodies entered Guangmingding or Kunlun. Zhang Zhong and Neferpitu and other subordinates did not report in the reincarnation space, so they had to enter Guangmingding or Kunlun, and they could not play in this mission. In fact, although Xiaohong and Xiaolu are also followers, Xiaohong likes to stay in the 100 Ghosts box, and Xiaolu's whole body is in Guangmingding, so this time they both failed to play. Only Xiajia, the Transformer, and Kurama, transformed into 2 human youths and followed Xiaoming into the reincarnation space. Taking the commander, a very simple name, Xiaoming could not guess the background of this mission world from it. Moreover, This time it is not only a world of ordinary people, but also a world where two teams are fighting each other. It seems that it is not enough to just let Xiaoming lose his supernatural energy. Qingxinglu also requires Xiaoming to compete fairly with other reincarnations. The plot events take place in Hong Kong. There are two major camps in the plot, one is the police camp, the other is a triad gang called Zhongxinyi. Ming Jing team was assigned to the Zhongxinyi camp. Xiaoming has no mission. When he first saw this situation, he thought he was going to fight to the death with the Hong Kong police. Being a gangster already made him very unhappy, and then killing the police. What an international joke. Xiaoming's camp has always been the justice camp. But he was assigned such an identity, which made Xiaoming a little upset. While he was daydreaming, Brother Wen had already read out the main mission one aloud. In short, the 6 members of the Mingjing team are Zhang Xiaoming, Lu Xiaojing, Zhang Wen, Yujian Guangan Zhao Jizhu, Kraken, and Xiao Xiao'er. They are now the younger brothers who have performed well in the Zhongxinyi society. Now they should be able to follow a big brother. This is the first task. As for Xiaojia and Zhangma, the 2 followers, their identities are fixed as Xiaoming's lackeys and they will not be separated. Since the strongest in this world is only the art of fighting. So after being suppressed by the world, the physical fitness of the 6 people is at the strongest level of ordinary people. It is equivalent to the level of a well-trained special forces soldier. Even Kraken, the mecha driver, is treated the same. Although the combat power is all in the mecha, the physical fitness of his original octopus man is far above that of ordinary people. Otherwise, he can't withstand the acceleration and recoil of the mecha. So the space sets it as an ordinary young man in his 30s. The physical fitness is also at the top of human beings. This is not the illusion he used before, but the real human body. This feeling makes Kraken feel very interesting. There are similarities and great differences with the feeling of driving a humanoid mecha at ordinary times. The most important thing is that he doesn't drive a humanoid mecha very often. As a civilization evolved from the octopus people in the sea, they rarely make humanoid mechas. Later, after entering the universe, they began to interact with various tribes, including humanoid tribes. From then on, Kraken came into contact with humanoid mechas. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 800. Humans are just a minority in the universe. In fact, there are many intelligent creatures that walk on 2 legs in the universe. From the perspective of humans, they can be considered humanoid creatures. But in fact, humans are just a rising star. In the general concept of the universe, humans are copying and pasting the evolutionary route of other creatures. If all intelligent creatures that walk upright on 2 legs are counted as humanoid creatures, the base number is very large. As a sea creature, Kraken once played with humanoid mechas for a while because of his curiosity. But he only tried it briefly. The 2 old models have been gathering dust in his mecha warehouse for many years. Now that the reincarnation space has given him a human body, he has become curious again. He is stretching his arms and legs and having fun. Others ignored him and gathered together to discuss the task. Brother leader, Xiao Jing'er was the first to speak. It's boring to be alone, so why don't you play with us this time? Yes, yes, as the captain, you have to participate in group activities occasionally, Zhang Wen echoed in unison. It seems that they are denouncing the captain's idleness, but in fact, they are worried about Xiaoming. After losing his supernatural energy, Xiaoming no longer has the strength of a crushing level, and he may really be in danger. But from another perspective, the 3 Xiaomings plus his followers Xiaojia and Zhang Ma, the 5-member team all have the physical fitness of special forces, but it is safer. Because this world limits the strength of the reincarnation, it means that there are no extraordinary individuals here. It is impossible for an unsolvable character like Sun Wukong to come out and beat himself to death with a stick. With a large number of resurrection stones as a backing, this world is actually safer for Xiaoming. But since his sister and brother Wen have spoken, Xiaoming will naturally not refuse. If they hadn't stopped him in time, Xiaoming really planned not to participate in this mission. Because he doesn't like the underworld. Xiaoming's hatred for gangsters is related to his experience when he was young. It's not that Xiaoming was bullied by gangsters in the past. On the contrary, Xiaoming has always been very low-key and has little presence. The number of times he was troubled by gangsters was few and far between. At most, he was hugged by the neck and threatened. He never got punched or kicked. But out of sympathy for the victims, Xiaoming has always hated people like gangsters. It's not because of anything else, it's just because these people are stupid. Many times, they don't even have a clear purpose, just to bully people. They harm others and themselves, and they are bold and have no sense of measure. If they disagree, they may kill people. You say you have hands and feet, what can't you do? Even if you don't do anything, you won't hurt others if you are a otaku. Why do you have to be such a jerk? Xiaoming really despises this kind of behavior of harming innocent people when you have nothing to do. The most important thing is that those who are bullied by such people are ordinary people who are honest and decent. Working hard every day to support parents, wives, and children is already very hard. And they often suffer from such unprovoked disasters. Don't look at those gangsters who are arrogant all day long and act like they are rich. In fact, they are just a group of cowards who bully the weak and fear the strong, and they specialize in bullying ordinary people. If you really think you are very powerful, why don't you provoke those second-generation officials and rich second generations? What's the point of showing off your power on honest people? Xiaoming thinks that such little gangsters are more hateful than some serious criminals such as murderers. So Xiaoming's sword of judgment has now been upgraded to a sword of rewarding good and punishing evil, which is specifically used to punish such repeat offenders. Unexpectedly, in the mission world, he was assigned the identity he hated, a loyal and righteous low-level gangster. Xiaoming's dissatisfaction can be imagined. If his sister hadn't stopped him, he would have left. But even if he stayed to help everyone with the mission, Xiaoming had planned to do something to comfort his soul. Do we need to gather together? Kraken was a little flustered. Although it was not the first time, he was still not used to the feeling of losing his fighting power. I think it's better for us to disperse and follow different big brothers, so that we can get more information. Other tasks will be easier to do, Zhang Wen suggested. I think it's okay, Yujian Guanghan Zaojos, who took over the conversation. Oh, by the way, what kind of reincarnation do you think our opponent will be? Yes, finally someone remembered that this is a confrontation mission. The opponent's mainline mission may first be to join the Hong Kong police. It doesn't matter. In this world, everyone is an ordinary person. It's probably about the same in terms of force. I'm afraid it's about whose mind is better. The little sister said with some concern, in this regard, we don't seem to be very good. He. After that, she stuck out her tongue. What do you mean by this? Upon hearing this, the other few people stopped working. They laughed and joked with Xiao Jing'er. Only Xiao Xiao'er smiled foolishly and didn't say anything. He grabbed Xiao Ming's arm and stood there watching the fun. Master, protector, stop talking nonsense, come over here, come and meet the big brothers. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, and it was a big brother named Ao from Zhongxinyi who was greeting them. Background setting, everyone followed Ao before. Now that the big brother called, everyone had to go together. I only heard Ao say to a rather majestic man, Brother Long, the little guys are here. Turning around, he shouted to Xiaoming and the others, come here, this is our Zhongxinyi leader, call him boss. Boss. N, several people shouted in unison. I didn't expect that Zhongxinyi's leader Lian Haolong was actually a fat man, but he was not bloated, his body was quite strong and powerful. He was a martial artist at first glance. Xiao Ming could feel that this brother Long's fighting power was probably higher than anyone in the current Ming Jing team. He couldn't help but feel a little admiration in his heart. Lian Haolong could see that the guys in front of him were all good players. Among them, there was even a little girl, and it was not easy for a girl to practice like this. I heard from Awu that these people had a good foundation and they were definitely not undercovers from the police. Of course, I would love to have such a group of good players join Zhong Xin Yi. Normally, the top of the underworld would not easily accept newcomers. But the reincarnationists need to complete tasks, so the reincarnation space opened a back door for everyone here. The main task 1 is equal to no difficulty. The only condition is that if you want to be a thug for the big brothers, the physical fitness of the reincarnation must be good. The lowest rank of the members of Ming Jing team is also 4th rank, which exceeds the upper limit of this world. After being suppressed by the space, everyone has top physical fitness. This first level was passed so easily.